What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and we're doing another realistic rebuild on Madden 21, and today we are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that I'm actually a little surprised by that I haven't taken on a little bit sooner. It's just when you look at the Steelers, how they started the season, and then, you know, I wouldn't say how they finished it, but just looking at their record, you're thinking, hey, they're a really good team, but honestly, they're one of those teams that are going to go from, you know, top tier to likely bottom tier. They added a bunch of players that they didn't really necessarily need to add for their offense in the draft. They really needed to focus on offensive line, and they just didn't. I don't know how you can dominate the trenches on defense, realize how important that is for winning, yet not address the offensive line. We obviously know that they released David DeCastro, which, you know, is a quote-unquote surprising move, but a guy that surprisingly may retire very soon here, maybe even this season. They do get Trey Turner, I'm going to assume it's Trey, right? He's okay. He's not like crazy, but by overall in Madden, he's the highest overall here, and I suppose the best lineman here. As far as receiving talent goes, the Steelers have always done a pretty good job of grabbing, you know, wide receivers a little bit later in each draft and doing well with them. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to get another chance. I really don't feel like he's a number one guy, and I think they think he can be, but, you know, the 1 year 8, definitely a win for them. I really didn't think they were going to get him back. I will say, as far as Juju Smith-Schuster goes, I'm not sure where all the hate comes from. I really don't get it. Like, him dancing and posting TikToks and all that, I get a little bit. Okay, I get, like, your team's struggling, and you're still kind of acting like nothing's wrong, I suppose, but he's a young kid having fun, playing, you know, living out his dream. Him dancing isn't going to change anything. Him dancing didn't make the Steelers automatically just start sucking. That's not how it works, you know? It's not how it works, so I don't know if Pittsburgh fans actually started, trying to blame that on it, which would be laughably pathetic. But Big Ben's play definitely didn't help, especially in the second or later part of the season. Probably on his last legs here, maybe even his last go, which is kind of awkward timing because, once again, I really don't feel like the Steelers are there. The only way the Steelers are there is if some of their youngsters are actually like really, really good and develop instantly on the offensive line. You know, Najee Harris could be the best running back in the world, but if there's no lanes to block behind or to run behind, which there probably won't be, he's going to struggle. You know, Pat, he's really just a backup to Ebron for 1 year. Assuming Ebron stays healthy. Speaking of health, Devin Bush was out for basically the entire season. They had a couple other guys. Who was the other guy I'm thinking of? The Bud Dupree. He's just not on their team anymore. Bud Dupree, who got a really nice contract. Obviously elsewhere, not here. Looking at the safeties, obviously Minkah Fitzpatrick has been a really, really big piece to their team. A really good trade they made there. Terrell Edmonds, he's not really developing super well in real life, but for us, he should be the safety of the future. So really, when you're looking at this team, they do need a new corner because they did lose Hilton. They do need a new corner. Joe Hayden has been kind of up and down. They went from like really stacked, like, you know, high depth corners to potentially the worst or very close to the worst cornerback group in the league, which is unfortunate. Inside linebacker, Vince Williams, they got to get a new guy for sure. And then Highsmith, a lot of potential in real life. Not sure how he's going to play here. A very decent rebuild team. Of course, in Madden, Devin Bush is OP. TJ Watt is just OP in general. Minkah's OP. Hayward is older. Tuitt is obviously really nice. Terrell Edmonds is nice. But, you do have some positions to replace. You know, you have this guy, the whole cornerback group. DT's old. Cameron Hayward, you could probably put on the list. Whole offensive line, pretty much. You need a new QB. So, once again, not the worst team for a potential franchise in Madden 22, which, of course, we polled. I obviously haven't seen it yet. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. A long intro, nothing else really to do. Ready to go. Let's do it. All right, so we have some signings. Obviously, Juju Smith-Schuster would be one of them. He's actually playing pretty well, so I'm willing to give him a 4-year deal. He's not going to be worth $60 million, though, so we'll give him the 4-year deal. We're going to probably value it at 38. And I don't know if we're actually going to need Cameron Sutton, but this team's cornerback group is looking a little rough, so we are going to be re-signing him to a 2-year $10 And I do not think we have anything else to do. I like the amount of money we have. And speaking of likes, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe. We do a ton of franchise stuff. That's it. All right, headed to the wild card round, and I don't get it. I don't get it. They go 11-5. You know, in real life, maybe, but like in here, like these overalls are just, they're awful. They're really bad overalls. I mean, you could see when you get some terrible pants. I mean, they start as a 76 overall, which is like bottom 5 easily. I mean, looking at the numbers, Big Ben wasn't even that good. Like that. I mean, that's okay for Big Ben right now at this point in his career. But as far as Madden goes, you know, that's pretty bad. Najee Harris obviously balls out. Juju Smith-Schuster, like I said, very good. Chase Claypool, not bad. Everyone else kind of iffy. Didn't change the scheme or anything. That's what's really surprising. This O-line played really poorly, but they still went 11-5 with that O-line. Sack totals, you know, really bad actually. Terrell Edmonds, I mean, the tackles were low. How did this team do so well again? I don't understand. I really don't. I forgot to change Presley Harvin's college, I think. No MVP, obviously. Any award at all, though. Juju Smith-Schuster for best wide receiver. Very surprising. But we're in the postseason, and we're playing the Patriots. I'm going to be honest, though. We're not going to win. We're just not going to win. And even if we do win, we're just not going to make it super far afterwards. The real thing here is we don't have a high draft pick. You know, that's the big issue. Our draft pick's going to suck, even though our team sucks. We do have money, though, so maybe that'll be a thing. I don't think Pittsburgh has that kind of money in real life, though, so I'm not sure if it's just Pittsburgh will be in a really good spot after this season, which I think they will be, at least for Big Ben's contract. We can actually release him and only take a $10 million hit, which I don't know if that's even worth it. I think it's just guaranteed. You might as well just keep him, if I'm not mistaken, but not a bad start to the game, and as you can see here, it has gone down very quickly and kind of to my liking. Once again, this team just isn't built for it, although, I mean, somehow here they are. I'm going to play it. It's really early for me to try and win, but you know what? We're doing it. Let's get a block from Harris Johnson down the field. I think you can get a ball downfield and still spike it. And that is an absolute dime. Spiked with 3 seconds left from the 46. That is exact. I mean, you probably want to get a little bit closer, but that's not the worst thing to have. And why is Juju all the way over there? Oh, whatever. He's not even get the ball off, as you would expect with this offensive line. Feel like basically 50% completion percentage, awful. It be what it be, honestly. You're going against Cam Newton, the greatest freaking sim quarterback of all time as well. What else do we have? Anything? Nothing. They missed a field goal as well, I believe. Nice. I mean, that's not the hardest team in the world to beat, but we're the easiest team in the postseason to beat, so it's pretty expected. The real question is, do we have any dev ups? That's what we really need. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster should go up in dev, but anyone else would be nice. Like Terrell Edmonds would be nice to go up in dev. Highsmith even, as the Browns win the Super Bowl against the Cowboys. There's really no winning in that one. Juju Smith-Schuster goes up in dev, and Big Ben just straight up retires on us, which, you know, I'm not absolutely hating. Defensively, we have no dev ups at all. Not a singular one. As far as re-signings go, Eric Ebron. I mean, they got Pat, so like, why would we re-sign him? I guess we're just gonna rock with Pat, right? Like, you don't draft a tight end in the second round with so many other glaring needs if you're planning on keeping Eric Ebron. So I'm just gonna assume that's the plan, as we now have $96 million to work with apparently. And a lot of offensive linemen and other positions replaced. Obviously, quarterback is one of them. I'm trying to think of what positions can we actually fill in free agency. Maybe corner. So here are the free agents. Obviously, Dak and Trent are off limits. Marcus Williams isn't off limits, but unless we want to move Fitzpatrick to corner, where he absolutely does not enjoy playing, there's not really much we can do. Maybe we can make the argument of putting Terrell Edmonds at linebacker. I'm going to take a look and see what, his history of potentially playing there is. Of course, Brian Poole. That would be a nice little contract. He actually kind of went up nicely in dev, which is clutch. But yeah, looking at free agency, it's not looking great. And the worst part is, in real life, a team like this would probably spend a ton on players here, even though they're not really that talented. Yeah, I think he's all right to transition to linebacker. So Marcus Williams, who is a guy that I just don't see the Saints being able to afford, will be our new strong safety. All right, we signed some players. We got Cam Robinson on a 3-year, $20-some million deal to play left tackle. We got a backup safety. We got another backup safety. We got a backup wide receiver. We paid Brian Poole for a 2-year, $20. And then we have Marcus Williams, the big ticket item. Well, really, Cam Robinson's probably the biggest guy we added. Literally. All right, so we're in the draft. We have pick 20, and there's a few centers who hopefully can play guard sitting there. Oh, hello, what am I talking about? We need a quarterback. Early first, Shane Peters. I just completely forgot about quarterback, and thankfully, no one else needs them. Deontay Austin is probably the choice, right? Because you're choosing... the other guy's faster, though. 23 or 22. Early first. Mick Green looks better, but Dev is just completely random, so if they're both normal, one guy can last longer than the other. I'm going to go Deontay Austin. Yes! I don't know if he's the better of the two. Of course, we're in number 7. I don't know if he's the better of the two or not, but we got hidden. We can't lose. We're unstoppable. Nice. Now with this pick, I'm assuming the centers we wanted are gone. That could have been one of them. I can't remember. Thankfully, I remember. Well, not even thankfully I remember quarterback. Thankfully, there was some quarterbacks there because I just, for whatever reason, I just didn't think about quarterback. Obviously, we would have had Haskins, which, I'm not really super stoked on that prospect. This is the guy, Cody Smith. Looks like the best lineman in the entire class, really. I looked at all the positions. There was a couple of decent tackles, but let's go to the Falcons and take that center who I think had some pretty good potentials, right? Could play guard, maybe. But speaking of Haskins, 2nd round this year, 5th round next year, and Dwayne Haskins for 42, which I do have to make sure we don't have anyone else because corner is a big need, too. This guy looks really good. He's a tackle. Ooh, man, I actually have a tough time choosing between the two. This guy is 6'5", though, so as far as a center goes, it's pretty big, right? 4'9", 5'10". This guy's more agile. Cody Smith seems to be just the best case. Tim Banks, DT's not that big of a need yet, and we have a 7th rounder. We're going to go Cody Smith and hope for the best. And, he's in normal development, as you would expect, but very good overall. Obviously, I want to see how good that tackle is. I might even cheat with Cody Smith. Cheat with him. We might boost his dev. He probably deserves it, but we'll see. The Jets have 2 picks back-to-back here. Give us 69 for 84, a 4th next and a 7th this. I'm also going to try and give them something next year as well. Yikes. We'll give them Mason Rudolph. I know they don't technically need a QB, but it says they do, and could never hurt to have a young backup. And then with this pick, I think you have to take Frank Parks, mid-first talent grade, decent enough looking, and I click B. Frank Parks it is, and a hidden development player. Okay, so a lot of these types of players that we've been taking, these corners, they've been usually normal, like high overall normal, but okay, high overall hidden, I might have to keep that lineman normal because that cornerback gem it's kind of makes up for it, right? I know you can't upgrade dev on O-line, but it's still pretty big. Let's go to our next pick. We don't really have anything to trade up with anyways, unless there's some player I'm forgetting. But obviously not a bad draft. Not a bad draft at all. What can we add to the team? Philip Burton. A pass rusher would be nice, I suppose, because edge still isn't set. Arian Choice might be our choice. I didn't even mean that, but wait, yay. We are going to take him now. Why not? 71 overall normal, and I guess that's why not. Not a bad choice, but, I don't mean it, It's like, not a bad choice. Haha, funny. His name's Choice. Yeah, we have 2 solid-looking wide receivers. That guy is a must-grab. This guy's kind of a must-grab, too. We're going to go to the Panthers. We trade them 6th and a 7th this for their pick. And we're hoping to land ourselves a sneaky little player. Brandon Crowder seems to be better to the 2. And he's a 70 overall normal. Obviously, massive amounts of potential. That's a win. And then we trade 2 7ths and Vince Williams to the Cardinals for their 6th round pick. I just want the other guy as well. Marlon Hillman. And he's a better overall for sure. And surprisingly has more potential. It's Pittsburgh Steelers and their late round wide receivers. I know they haven't really been this late, but still. Of course, this quarterback automatically starts as our next highest overall. Even with Haskins, it would have been a 67. I believe it's now a 64. Please be good. All right, star development trait. That's about the bare minimum. We'll have to see how he compares to the other choices we had. And then we have a corner who I believe was the other only hidden player. 33. It's an okay number. And another star dev guy. I think Ben Banks was one of the linemen we were going to go for. Of course, normal as with every quarterback. Mick Green. Whoo! Dodge a bullet there. And I'm not, he is very good. Obviously, a lot faster and whatnot. Was Shane Peters one of the other choices? I think he was. Well, we made the right choice. I don't know if there's any other quarterbacks. Were there? 20, 30. So we took the first quarterback off. And he was like the only... there might be another star dev later on, but basically the only hidden one. So, we made a good choice. Not great, but he's definitely usable. And we're obviously going to change his number. That would just be pretty rude, right? Although he is a raging party guy. All right, we have an 85 overall team, which is a massive increase. Obviously, it helps having, somewhat sufficient O-line, right? 77 left tackle. Smith, the center, moves to right tackle and becomes a 77 himself. Pat's an okay overall. Looking at the other skill positions, quarterback and wide receiver, running back and wide receivers are fine. The quarterback shouldn't take too long if he's at least okay, talent-wise to get up there. Defense, a lot more potential as you have Edmonds, who's young. You have Parks, who's obviously young. Poole isn't necessarily young, but he's a good overall, and he can last at least maybe 2 to 3 seasons. Obviously, we don't have him for 3, but if he's good enough, we'll give him a 1 year. Obviously, Marcus Williams is a huge increase to the defense. The defense should be loaded. There should be no issues on the defense. Obviously, there's positions we can upgrade, but overall, it should not be the reason why we suck if we do. All right, so re-signings are here, and let me tell you, they're quite expensive. A 6-year, 140 for TJ. A 5-year, 63. Once again, I don't think he would want to play corner again in his career, but at some point he may have to if he wants to stick around with that money. Terrell Edmonds, not asking for that much. He's getting up there. 24 isn't much for real life, obviously, but for Madden terms, when you're a normal dev and your XP's 10K per upgrade, it's something, right? But we'll still get him on a longer deal, and then everyone else can go. James Washington's cool and all, but we just don't need him. He'd be the 4th receiver anyways. All right, close call for the playoffs. Are the Steelers in? And they are. It was a very rough start to this team season as they went 0-5. 2-5, 2-6. I was like, well, top 10 pick coming up. Top 5, really. And then you see some of these wins. I just don't understand how you lose the teams you lose to. Like losing to the Jets, the Lions, the Raiders, but beating the Browns, losing to the Texans, winning against the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Broncos, the there's some really interesting matchups there that just don't really make a whole lot of sense. But we snuck in, thankfully. Austin, probably not superstar. Yeah, if he was superstar, I'd be shocked. Najee Harris, actually a better season last year. Not by a whole lot, but enough. Receiving kind of split out a little bit more, but overall, not a bad year of receiving. O-line, the right tackle spot was vastly improved, while the left tackle spot, even though we did improve the position by a lot, apparently wasn't. Love it. Terrell Edmonds should go to star. Devin Bush, maybe a superstar, probably not, though. Sack totals. Thankfully, TJ Watt at least shows up because we, kind of paid him to be our new quarterback. Our pass rusher. The rest, a little iffy. Right outside linebacker, definitely a position we need to look at. Frank Parks, the rookie. 5 interceptions at number 2 spot. Edmonds, I'm forcing that dev if he doesn't go up in dev. 14 for 17 for kicking, which is not bad, but 3 of them blocked. All 3. Interesting. MVP of the league, Zach freaking Wilson. As far as other awards, we got both of the Rookie of the Year awards and Best Linebacker. We lost to the Browns by a ton. We beat them by a little bit. One would think that they're going to destroy us here, but if we win, that's, magic. Going to the end of the game. Don't even know who has the ball first. Do I care? Kinda, but not really. 3-0, 10-0. Not bad start from the defense. And I say that, and of course that happens. They do get a touchdown before half, though. Pittsburgh with a pretty shocking upset so far. Looks like it's going to be a win. It is the defense. Pittsburgh absolutely locking the Browns out, which is just something you don't see often. They lost in the wild card round, the Browns did. Those divisional matchups hit different, though. Not bad. Not bad passing. Rushing was awful. Receiving, well, I guess Najee at least received pretty well. That's when she's something. Pass rush, I don't know how this O-line held up, but sure, I'm sure that would be the result of these two tackles playing against those two edge rushers. And clearly, they would only allow 1 sack each. Now we're in the divisional matchup, going up against the Buffalo Bills. 86 overall for them, 88 for us. All right, they're zooming. They get 3, they get another 3, but it's only 6 points. Obviously, the defense is doing as well as it can, as we're now leading 7-6. Still 7-6, 14-6. Halftime score 14-6, 17-6. Defense, man, keep it up. We could ride out on this defense for the win. How is this possible? How is this team already in the championship? How? 38-6. I mean, it is a good squad. We definitely turned it around pretty quickly. Even though the team, the players weren't that great in free agency, we added some really big positions. As passing was masterful, rushing was better, but definitely not that great. And then TJ Watt dominating for the defense. Nick Fitzpatrick with a pick. Tremaine, the brother of Terrell, with an interception, but the loss ultimately. 6 points, basically in the first 5 minutes of the game. And then nothing. Nothing. Can't wait to play the Chiefs. And there they are. Both teams 9-7, though. This is probably the worst thing that we could face because all the teams that were kind of higher and expected to win lost, while the Chiefs are like, oh, we're underdogs this year. Oh, no. Oh, what a disaster. Of course, they somehow won their division at 9-7, I would assume at least, and they got the home field advantage. The other side, the Washington football team versus the Saints. Let's be honest, we all know who's going to win that one. 3-0. We're always giving up some sort of lead out the gate, and we miss another extra point in the postseason. How many is that going to be? 6 all, a very interesting score at half, I'll give you that. As no one can really do anything, we get 3. It's just a field goal battle, 16-6. Defenses are really showing up in this one, and surprisingly enough, we hold the Chiefs to 9 points. Is this the most, elite defense we've ever had in a rebuild? It has to be. Look at the sack totals. That is insane. 8 from 3 players. I don't even know what to tell you. Yep. And I guess we don't know because the Washington football team beats the Saints. As we see the dev-ups, Najee Harris is one of them. Goes to superstar, gets tank and short out elite. Probably bulldozer, right? Let's take a look at the defensive side of things now. And I do not see a dev-up for anyone. Obviously, we're upgrading Terrell Edmonds' dev. Maybe Parks went up in dev, actually, but obviously he was already hidden, so wouldn't be able to see. And I don't know why I said that. He's literally showing star. But here we are, going against Washington in the Super Bowl. All right, here it is, the Super Bowl on 9-7 Super Bowl proves all you gotta do is make it. As you can see here, no forced wins of any sort. Chiefs game was a little iffy, a little questionable of how we even did it. The team is actually a really solid overall. I'm a little surprised. I will say, of course, the quarterback, he's a pretty decent overall already, better than Big Ben was last season. Maybe our sliders are a little bit too high, but I suppose it's a little late to try and adjust sliders now because, 1, the team's already good, and 2, the Madden season's pretty much over. Obviously, next Madden's going to be kind of, the meta's going to be all over the place because there's a lot of new additions to the game. Juju Smith-Schuster, 96 overall. Claypool, 90. Najee, 87. Some of our sliders aren't that bad, right? Najee's 2 years in is only an 87, despite the fact that he's running one of the best running backs in the league. O-line's pretty iffy. Pat's pretty iffy. Defensively, Devin Bush really hasn't gone up too much. Edmonds, he didn't even get a dev up, even though he obviously deserved it. The corners aren't really, we've got some positions, right? I think really the big thing that we did was add guys like Marcus Williams, allowing, different positions to thrive, like Edmonds going to linebacker, so we didn't have to get a new linebacker, which was kind of lacking in the offseason. O-line, it really didn't do much there, but Robinson was an okay addition, boosted up the tackle position. But overall, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure where we go from here if we win this, because I didn't expect to even be here, let alone win this. And honestly, with the way the Steelers are in real life, I don't expect it for them either. So, I don't know. We'll see. Washington has Jameis Winston. I don't see how they win with him. He's kind of like a budget cam for Sim. So he's not terrible for Sim, but overall, I mean, us losing this would be a bit of a shock, right? But at the same time, that's the storyline we need, isn't it? It's just beat all these tough teams. Not that Washington's an easy team, but get smoked by Washington. What a storyline. Although, team's not done yet. Team's not done yet. No shot. 4th and 3. They go for a run. Not even with Najee either. This would have literally been, wow, we got smoked. That would have literally been for a potential lead. Absolute choke job, despite the fact that they did the opposite of a choke and almost clutched up near the end. Both quarterbacks were pretty bad. Jameis had 2 rushing touchdowns. It was really just kind of a boring game despite the scoreline. They dominated. I mean, we had a lot of sacks too, so I don't know, dude. Things just happen. A lot of punting. I mean, sure, I don't think that really helps the rebuild that much, but I guess we didn't win the Super Bowl, so we had to do another season or 2 or 3. But, I mean, it wasn't exactly the storyline I was hoping for. It's obviously a success already, because getting this team back to the Super Bowl is, it's definitely not the easiest thing to do. As far as re-signings go, we probably could afford James Washington, but there's really no point. 26 years old, normal. He's okay, but he's really not going to provide much for us. We're already pretty loaded at wide receiver. And we have to re-sign some guys, I'd imagine. I will say, though, Juju Smith-Schuster, who has been a little polarizing, definitely would be holding out at this point, I would say, right? I'd say he'd be holding out because he's only on like a 4-year 40-something. I think it's a 4-year 38 or whatever. Oluokun. Not a bad choice, but that's a middle linebacker. We need a pass rusher. Harold Landry, I do not know. I don't know. I also don't know how Joke always ends up in free agency, even though he's almost always solid. I mean, there are some names here. There's definitely some things to work with. We also got to take a look at our D-line, because I have no idea. Because what's his name? Aluulu? What's his damn name? Alu, I think his name is, has sent himself away, so we do need a DT. We've seen a couple options there. Pass rush is a big option that we need to replace, though. Highsmith has just not been the guy. He's okay, but do we pay Harold Landry? That's the question. I don't know. That seems a little steep. Having that rookie quarterback deal, though, is massive, so maybe we upgrade one of our offensive lineman positions, and then I suppose pass rusher. All right, so we get some signings. Bilal Nichols is actually pretty big of a signing. Obviously, the biggest one being Harold Landry. It was a 5-year, $67 million deal, which I think is fair for both sides. Unfortunately, a 2-year, $20 for Jensen was not enough, even though it was the leading offer. This guy's star dev. He's not very good. This guy's normal. We could take backups. And then Taven Bryan, also another backup. Not really that great, not that much potential, but obviously improves the team. Definitely improves the team. As far as offense, I don't really know if there's much we can improve the team with other than, a best available lineman choice and getting lucky with like a hidden dev. Defensively, though, obviously, we're pretty much set. Like, there's really not much we can do here either. Maybe a new corner just because Brian Poole, he's only on a contract for 1 more year. Don't know how he's going to regress. But yeah, this team actually is pretty sick. I guess D-line, you could probably look for a replacement for Hayward / Tuitt. I don't know what the kind of contract situations are as well. I mean, it's a really good squad. I think we're just going to go best available. All right, so we have pick 31, and realistically, best available pick are these players. Don't really need the wide receiver, unfortunately. Will Mathis looks pretty decent. This guy looks decent, but we do have a guy that's later on that we could probably take for a pass rusher. Not that we need one necessarily, but, just best available value. Landry, Harrell, Nate Roth, and Mr. A.J. Hill are the top 3 corners. A.J. Hill's probably the biggest one for us, even though he's really small. As long as it's not Harrell. As long as Roth or Hill is there, we're probably going to make a trade up for one of them. So Roth and Hill are the names we are looking for. The Vikings just took a quarterback named Connor Bonner. Yep, Definitely wouldn't be made fun of in school. Nope, definitely. Everything's fine. Harrell goes there. Wow. These corners are going that high. 15 we have to get up to. I don't know if we can. Let me take a look if there's any other corners we have in the class, which I don't think there was, but 15. I don't care how good this corner is. I don't know if we can get to 15. Mid-second. We can't. That's just too high. There he goes to the Chargers. Of course, it's the Chargers. 78 overall. Please just don't be hidden. That's all I could ask for. Might be looking at a trade down here. We gain a 4th-round pick to move back 2 spots here, which I'd suppose... Wow, that's a bust. I don't know if I've ever seen a lower first-round player than that. A 63 overall. We had another 4th-round pick moving back to pick 8 in the 2nd round. Not really gaining, the value I'm looking for, but we're adding. Add another 4th-round pick to move back a couple more spots. This is where we may be looking to take someone. Brian Baker is actually a guy they mentioned that he wasn't as good as people thought, so maybe we put him on the list just because he is someone they mentioned. I think Josh Rhodes is probably the biggest need, whereas Carlos Hall is up there as well, but we can take him later. So, Josh Rhodes. Yeah, that's kind of why I was hesitant. Kind of the 50-50 type. Don't even know exactly what position he plays at that rate. I suppose let's go to pick 31, which will, I suppose, be Mr. Brian Baker. Looks okay, and 70 overall normal. Another really bad pick. Oh, I missed that 3rd-round pass rusher, actually. Definitely want to take a look at how good he was. He's an early first talent grade. Thankfully, we don't really need a pass rusher. We have our guys for, 5 more years, I suppose, on the edge, so... That guy would have just been a really sick backup. We go about 5th and 6th next year to move up 15 spots in the 3rd, which of course will be this cornerback. Hopefully he's good because obviously we could have made all those trade-ups. And he's not bad, but I'm really hoping that Chargers corner is actually normal because if not, we sold because all the draft picks we had were awful anyways. So we could have traded our 2nd and 3rd round pick and taken that corner. Would have been better overall. Carlos Hall, we're going to be taking. Please, late first, be good. Yes. Thankfully, something good comes of it. 73 overall, really solid-looking player. Obviously, a bit raw for the pass rush department, but as far as a pure number 1 DT, basically a nose tackle, could probably get away with that. Looks pretty good, actually. So something positive, I suppose. We have Otis Streets. Not a bad-looking backup. He's coverage linebackers type. We might actually reach. This guy's a 1st-round projector. We're going to go for him. And it was a worthy reach because he is very solid. I wouldn't say he could play all the positions, but maybe guard. It was a reach, but it was worth the reach. And realistically, that's pretty much all we need, right? God, be normal. I really freaking hope that Chargers corner is normal because if not, oh no. Because the other corners, fair enough, they could be like X Factor. I would not have chosen them over the guy we had, so it really came down to how it lined up, and that's the way it lined up. We could use a fullback as Derek Watt is almost 30. Ted Russo is our guy, best-looking fullback there was, and, we're going to trade up with the Rams to grab a kicker, because I think we need one of those as well, don't we? Yeah, Boswell's not very young. We give the Rams a 7th-round pick and P.J. Hall for their 7th-round pick. Obviously, our 7th is next year, so... We made out on that trade a little bit. Who's this guy? 2nd and 3rd round projected receivers in the 7th round. They're always going to catch my eye. Lawrence Holly, 68 overall, 24 years old, and he's kind of average. So we landed 1 hidden. He was a DT, which I suppose was one of our bigger needs when it comes down to it. Because, everything else. I mean, offensive line, but, let's be honest, you can't really draft a good O-line. It's just luck. And speaking of luck, didn't really get him a whole bunch there. Let's just go by this. 3 DTs in a row. Normal dev, sell from the Dolphins. Normal dev, sell from the Bengals. And can't really call this a sell because he's very solid and he's the youngest of the 3. Connor Bonner, my dude. And of course, the best part is he's hidden, so he's a franchise quarterback. So Connor Bonner is going to be dominating this league for 20 years. He's an X Factor. Connor Bonner, the face of the NFL. Oh, what a disaster. This guy was the Heisman. Looks pretty damn good, actually. Kind of looks like a Harold Landry type, but with Heisman, could be way better than him, and he's not. He's not. Here's the corners. Harrell, Landry Harrell, normal. Dev Roth, hidden, as I would have expected. 6'3". Catching is very disappointing, though. 58 catching, 6'3", all that. Ugh, what a waste. What a waste of talent. Star Dev, and then the Chargers guy. Please be normal. Yes, he's still really good, though. Look how good he is. He's still the best of the three by far. It's not even close, but, you know, I'm still mad. Normal Dev, 78 overall. That's nutso anyways. Let's take a look at this tight end. Is he at least hidden? Oh, my Lord. He does have aggressive, I suppose. He has all the catching traits, but, yeah, that's kind of sucky. There's probably some other players we missed, but they weren't that significant to where I can even remember them. So we trade Sutton and Highsmith to the Raiders for pick 80. It's had so many other teams that tried to trade to, and they were just all broke. All right, looking at the team for Season 3, obviously really solid offense. Again, we didn't actually improve the offense any, but obviously still really solid. Defensively, we did improve. We have a new DT. We got some new backups, and then, of course, Harold Landry, a massive upgrade to the pass rush department. So this should be our best season yet, but we don't know how other teams are developing. Maybe there's some X-Factor quarterbacks like we've seen with Connor Bonner. I can't get over that name. And, you know, maybe some superstar linemen, which is unlikely, but, you know, possible. If this dude can't get a breakout from a 45-7 win, honestly, outside of normal to star, there's just no point in even looking at these breakout quarterback situations. Wait, am I missing something? Is it 4 touchdowns? That's harsh if that's the case. He killed it. I'm not going to force it, though. All right, here we are with Stephon Tuitt, a 29-year-old that wants a 2-year 31. I really do want to keep him, too. I'm going to first things first. Let's see. Yeah, because there are some other names here. I mean, I think we can afford everyone, even Deontay if we want him, which I think we do, right? He's having his worst season yet, though, so I don't know. Brian Poole, we'll give him a 1-year deal. He's been a huge, huge help to this team. Damn it. To this team, obviously, cornerback isn't the strongest position around here. Stephon Tuitt, I mean, even with our star dev guy, I think you got to keep him because we're going to lose Hayward. I'm glad that everyone's declining, though. It makes me feel good. Turner, he'll get a 3-year deal worth just about 30. And, I mean, I suppose we'll just work on these deals. Still thinking about Deontay Johnson, though. Like, we're 6 games in, and he only has 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's not really that good. Maybe we trade him, actually? We actually do. Deontay Johnson to the Colts for a late second-round pick, which is 100% fair. That's a pretty big win for the Colts, though, right? Like, for us, he's number 3. For them, he's by far number 1, even over Pittman. You have 50 mil left over, and pretty much everyone's signed, so it's clutch. Like, we really just didn't need him. I mean, we have Hillman, who's a really good-looking slot receiver himself, so I'm not worried about it. All right, really good season that just fell apart. I don't even know what the hell happened here. Maybe Deontay Johnson meant more to this team than I thought, but 5-0, then we lose to the Falcons. Should win that by 3 games with 14 points only. Yeah, debatable. Bills, obviously, tough team. Browns, tough team. Losing to the Bengals, yeah, unlikely. Browns, yeah. Saints, yeah. Jets, hell to the no. As far as stats go, Deontay Austin didn't change the scheme at all. Awful stuff. Najee Harris should be an X Factor. He crushed it. Receiving, just disgusting behavior. O-line, terrible. Defensively, 2 guys over 100 tackles. Pass rush, I mean, that's just freaking deplorable, dude. Picks, Devin Bush had a pretty good season. Edmonds, not so bad either. Boswell, really good season, actually. That was a rough one outside of Najee and, like, Boswell, really. And maybe the linebackers, I suppose. Justin Fields with the MVP award. We had Defensive Player of the Year award with Edmonds. Not bad at all. Palmer, our slot corner, wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, apparently. And that's it. We didn't even win Best Kicker. We were close, but we didn't win it. The Colts, let's see it. 89 overall Colts, 93 us. I just don't. With the way we're playing, there's just no way, right? There's just no chance. Going against Deontay Johnson. Hopefully he doesn't torch us, and if he does torch us, hopefully they don't win. I mean, I'm rooting for him, you know, if they somehow win. But not yet. Not yet. 13-all at halftime. Really close score. 16-13. You got to think that we did help them become, you know, a pretty decent force, right? Like, I don't see their offense being good enough without Deontay. as we do win 30-13. Maybe Deontay actually handed us one as speaking of Deontay Austin, really just not good. Like, game-managing quarterback, apparently. Johnson, 34 yards only for them, but, I mean, in general, their pass game was pretty bad, too. Sack totals, like, basically half of what they had in the regular season, pretty much. It was so bad. Devin Bush crushing it. Let's move on to the Wild Division. I love the Wild Division. And a team we did not beat in the regular season all year long. We know that it's very hard to win 2 against one team in a season, but to do it 3 times, let's find out. Obviously, in the snow, it should really benefit both teams because both teams have a pretty good run game, but obviously their O-line is on another level, so I would give them the nod. But overall, our rush attack has done pretty damn well itself. 7-all, 7-14. Not a great start for us. Come on, D. There you go, defense. Offense does well. Offense ties it up, 17-all. What a game, 20-17. Start of the 4th. Let's slow this thing down a little bit. This is going to benefit them. No, it's not, as it is our ball. Rushing looking good. Score a touchdown and you win. They get the field goal, but 6 minutes left. Tons of time. The defense clutches up. Come on, offense. That should be the dagger. We beat Cleveland. You can have your regular season wins. We win the most important one. The only one that matters. Not really, but I mean, it's at this point, it's the only one that matters. Najee, I like to talk all this big game about the rushing attack, and both teams were absolutely awful. Chase Claypool, absolute beastly game. Love it. Sack totals really not much. Harold Landry with a pick. There you go, buddy. He's, not great in the regular season, but dominating in the post. The conference championship going against the Jets, ironically enough. We lost to them week 17, I believe. We have a lot of overalls on them. Please don't lose to this team. Another snowy one, huh? Snow game for life as Tampa and the Saints. Wow, that is just not a good sight if you're on the AFC side. You're like, well, that's not a good opponent to play against. I believe that was the Jets drive, and I do not know yet. 6 points, no extra point, though. Huge touchdown drive as we are going to be leading by a decent bit here. Is this back-to-back Super Bowl trips? I think it is. This one's been a little... Maybe the Steelers are better than I thought. I don't know. I just... When I saw that roster out the gate, I'm just like, it's not that great. But I suppose Juju's really young. Claypool's really young. So if you can get dev-ups or they just have decent seasons, which they have had outside of maybe this year, I suppose, they can dev up pretty fast. Zach Wilson, I really do not know what teams I want to use for franchise next year. I really don't. And obviously not even just what I want to choose, but also, once again, have to coordinate it with the other boys so, no one, cuts another player off or another creator off. I really don't know. Steelers, I kind of thought maybe. Falcons, I think, are a really tough team. The Jets, I think the Jets would have been a clear cut if you guys were interested, but it seems like you guys are like, yeah, the Jets, they're kind of meh. Like, yeah, they have a good quarterback, but, that's really it, right? I mean, people have always said, oh, you need to get a quarterback, like a rookie quarterback, one of these franchises, so you're not just, getting a good quarterback at the end. The Jets are the perfect team. Super hard rebuild team. They just have a good quarterback, which really, is it really that hard to get? Maybe in a user league, but not a user league, so I don't know. But the Buccaneers, show you guys we didn't force any wins, as once again, we've kind of surprised teams a little bit. I mean, once again, the team has developed pretty damn well. The quarterback, did he dev up? He did not, obviously. Najee didn't go to X Factor? Really? Okay. Wait, are we actually at the Super Bowl? We are. Okay. I'm really just surprised, that's why I had to check. Looking at the defensive side of things, Bush doesn't dev up. Edmonds doesn't dev up. But apparently, Harold Landry does. I didn't even show it, actually. But lacking in dev ups, but the one guy that gets one. Okay. But here it is. Can we win it all, or are we going to be the most disappointed team? Not maybe in the history of the NFL, but yeah, recent history for sure. No snow this time, obviously, as we are in Arizona. Kyle Trask, the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now still, leading that really solid squad. Maybe a few players left here and there, but overall a very talented team. As halftime, we are absolutely smoking them 28-10. That's going to be a GG. There's just not much you can do about it. 35-17. We actually lost last Super Bowl 35-17, if I'm not mistaken, to Washington, and we beat Tampa with that exact same score. Absolute shocker just for the score. Obviously, we expected to win this, and we do. The Pittsburgh Steelers are back on top. Do they regain the title for most Super Bowl wins for a team? I believe so, right? I think so, which is crazy because it's the same amount as Tom Brady. Why? Why did that happen? Why? Oh, man. O.J. Howard seems to be the starting tight end for them. Thankfully, I want to see that happen in real life, really. And MVP of the game will go to Chase Claypool, who had a masterful game. A couple of games like that now in the postseason. Very solid guy. I could debate that he is the true number one, with Juju being the number two now, which is exactly kind of what he needs. We'll see if that happens in real life. Would be really clutch for the Steelers, who once again have dominated in drafting wide receivers all around the class, rather than, the classic not high first round, but first round pick, situation. Regardless, though, that's the Steelers rebuild. A success nonetheless. Big Ben out the door pretty much immediately. This quarterback, obviously, he developed pretty nicely. Little bit of an iffy regular season. I suppose at least he wasn't turning the ball over in the post, as you can see here, by far his best performance. And you could probably maybe have made the argument for him to be MVP as well with that completion percentage. Najee Harris, the real winner of this one. He's just been so damn clutch. Stephon Tuitt, that defense, that front four has been solid. And obviously you can kind of say front seven now, as the inside linebackers actually had a really good year. Devin Bush could have been interchangeable defensive player of the year with Terrell Edmonds realistically. Really good stuff. And ultimately, that is going to be our realistic rebuild of the Pittsburgh Steelers. With how easy that was, once again, you got to get a quarterback. You have to pay for Big Ben's contract for 1 year. You got to get a quarterback. But I don't, even with the O-line, I think they're probably off my list. They are pretty damn good. Like, you're set at wide receiver for sure, right? Like, you have 3 solid young guys, running back set, tight end set. You really have 2 tight ends. You probably trade Ebron off. You do have an okay guard. I don't think Dotson's going to be hidden in next Madden. TJ Watt's OP. Edmonds is really solid. Minka's really solid. Devin Bush is insane. Tuitt's insane. They're really just missing corners, realistically. Corners and O-line. So, yeah, they're probably off my list. They're probably too good of a team, which is probably the reason why we haven't done this team in so long. Usually, if there's a big break in between rebuilds for a team, it's probably because they're one of the better ones. That's usually how it works. But anyways, regardless, if you enjoyed this one, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, second channel PKR Plays, and then twitch.tv/Jeromepkr for streams, which I don't know the schedule. Let me think. Now, stream will be on Monday, so tomorrow we'll have a stream. Anyways, though, thanks for watching. Maybe check out, like I said, the second channel. Maybe we'll have a second channel vid today. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys come back for next video. But until next video, see